Hey there, friend. Welcome back to Daily Dose Radio here in the Bible Bistro. 5 minutes a day, 5 days a week, studying the Psalms verse by verse. That's all we do here, and that's all I'm asking of you, 5 minutes. Now, sometimes I go just a little bit longer than 5 minutes, so give me some seconds after the minutes. Today, we are beginning a study in Psalm 22. Psalm 22 is, as I said, it's the most marvelous of the Messianic Psalms because Jesus himself spoke these words and so forever indelibly marked this as his psalm. So the very first verse there, we have the words repeated by Christ on the cross. And as we go through Psalm 22, you're going to see just how much of the cross is present, how much of the passion is present in this psalm. And then at the end, you're going to see the resurrection, how much of that is present in this psalm. And prophecy about the church being born is present in this psalm. It starts off with a fairly interesting introduction. This is of the choir master, Upon the Hind of the Dawn, a Psalm of David. The Hind of the Dawn. Now, some of your translations are going to have the Hebrew transliterated here because no one really knows what Hind of the Dawn means. Is this a tune name? Is it an instrument? Not really sure. The medieval church saw that word hind and said, well, this is Christ, and the Hind of the Dawn is the hind that's being chased by the hunters until on the dawning of the sun, he is captured and caught in their snare and then killed. So that very well could be what Hind of the Dawn means, that this is Jesus, and all of this is taking place in the morning. You know, he goes before the Sanhedrin, he goes before Pilate, he goes before Herod, and he's taken and he's scourged and then crucified. All of that takes place in the morning. So it very well could be that this is about, the time of day when all of that happened in the story of Christ. So, Hind of the Dawn, it is a Psalm of David. And today we're just going to treat the first two verses. Also, I think I mentioned just a minute ago, we're doing a study. It's going to take us a couple of weeks. We're going to do this in 3 parts. So today, this week, just verses 1 through 10. And we'll just kind of process this a little at a time and pray that the Lord gives me insight so that I can, present it to you rightly divided. Because this is a glorious psalm. We should tremble as we handle this particular psalm. So let me read verses 1 and 2. My God, why hast thou forsaken me? Why art thou so far from the helping me, and from the words of my roaring? O my God, I cry in the daytime, but thou hearest not, and in the night season, and am not silent. So here we have Jesus crying out to the Father, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? One of the commentators that I was looking at, an ancient one, said that the reason he says my God twice is because first deals with his humility in being born as a man. Second, his humility, humbling himself to be obedient even to the death of a cross. So he has reason to cry out, my God, my God. And of course, we have these words spoken there on the cross, Matthew chapter 27 and verse 46. Jesus says this exactly. Why hast thou forsaken me? Why are you so far from helping me, from the words of my roaring? So yeah, there on the cross, he, as I said at the introduction, he, marks this psalm as his own when he repeats these words. And of course, we read the psalm and we look back to the cross and we say, David must have seen something. He must have had this vision in mind. as the Holy Spirit inspired him to write this psalm of his Son Christ as he goes to the cross. "O my God, I cry in the daytime, but thou hearest not, and in the night season, and am not silent." So in that daytime, or in that nighttime crying, maybe he's referring to Gethsemane there. And in the daytime crying, perhaps he's referring to prayers that we didn't hear on the cross, that were not recorded for us. So who knows what he's praying? And some have said, actually, that beginning here in Psalm 22, verse 1, that Jesus begins quoting these Psalms, 22 through 35, verse 6. So these Psalms, he's quoting them as he's on the cross. Of course, we have no biblical warrant for that, but some have imagined that that's what is being said, because when he comes to the end and pronounces that it's finished, that comes from a psalm as well. We'll talk about all that as we go forward. Okay, so tomorrow join me, and we're going to look at verses 3 and 4 here on Daily Dose Radio.